Hello there and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 7 today. We're going to do something a little bit different. We are doing another car build, but I believe for the first time I've done in this game, we're going to have a bit of a fancy build. You see, this is the Honda Odyssey. It was recently added to Forza Motorsport 7 with the latest car pack, and it is fantastic. I love this thing. It's great. I've had a lot of fun with this, put a Hellcat engine in it and all the rest of it, went drifting with it even on a live stream, but today I'm actually going to do something semi-serious with the Odyssey. You see, it has become apparent to me that the Odyssey did not have a sports version. Of course, this car has, well, this particular one has a V6 with 280 brake horsepower, I think, and that's all well and good, but I want to go a bit crazy. You see, Honda has a crazy division. They're called Type Rs. So, we're going to try and make a Type R Honda Odyssey. Now, you might notice the wheels on this are a little bit different. I picked some wheels that look vaguely similar to the standard wheels on the 2017 Civic Type R. I've also pumped up the tyre sizes to 245s. That's what they are on the Civic, so that's what we're going to use for the Odyssey. Now, first off, I'm thinking a bit more power than I'd like, but we are going to go for the turbo rally engine. The reason we're going to do that is because, again, while this V6 is very lovely, very smooth, pretty much every single Type R has had a 4-cylinder. The only ones that I can think that don't are the NSX Type Rs of like the 90s and the early 2001, you know, they had the standard V6s, but I don't think any other, like the Accord was a 4-cylinder, Integra was a 4-cylinder, Civic's a 4-cylinder, obviously, so that's what we're going to go with. Now, 375 horsepower is a lot more than this, so I just realised the Turbo Rally engine weighs exactly the same as the standard engine. Now, 375 horsepower is a lot more than I'd like to run with this. The current Civic Type Rs are running 340, I think it is. Oh, sorry, it's 320. Where did I get 340 for? Maybe there's a version with it with 340, but 375's a little bit excessive for me, but that is the closest I can get, so that's what we're going to do. I could put aero on it, I'm not going to. I appreciate that the modern Honda Type Rs have active aero, but I don't want to make this thing look too much like a race car. And also, speaking of not making it too much like a race car, I appreciate this is a racing engine, but you'll just have to follow with me here. We're going to try and make this thing road legal, so I'm going to try to avoid, you know, the big old racing upgrades. So we will go for sport brakes, because of course this thing still needs to stop like a standard car. Again, so the sport brakes make it weigh a lot more, and then, okay, whatever. Suspension, ooh, now this is a question. Of course, race suspension would be way too hard, but this game doesn't really calculate that, and because I actually want to be able to adjust my own suspension, I am going to use the racing suspension. We will go for some sport front anti-roll bars, and apparently there's sport on the back already. Cool, I guess. Chassis reinforcement, no, because of course this is based on the stock car. We will go with one stage of the weight reduction. We're basically going to pretend that this thing now has race seats instead of the leather seats. Maybe it has leather in the back, or fabric in the back like the Accord did. Maybe this thing might actually clear to full D-Class. I do want the ability to adjust the differential. We will have a sports driveline in this. Now, gearbox. I think I'm going to leave the standard gearbox in. While this car would be lovely to have a manual gearbox, and I don't think there's ever been an automatic Type R. Maybe it was an option in Japan because they like their autos. But we're going to stick it with the standard automatic gearbox. We're going to assume it would be too much of a hassle to get a better one in, but we will stick in a better clutch. So there we go. That is our Odyssey built up. Can't touch the power obviously because it's already got way too much power. But you know, this is what I would sort of expect this car to be. A little bit lower, a little bit meaner, maybe handle a little bit better. Of course, most of this will come down to the tuning. I don't have the exact tuning regulations for the standard Type R Civic, but I can assume a couple of things. So we will harden up the suspension and lower the ride height, because of course this is a Type R, and Type Rs are famous for being rock solid in terms of their suspension. Yeah, they like to break your spine basically, so We will spine brake it a little bit more, of course 2017, sort it out. The anti-roll bars are just going to stay as they are. As far as the diff goes, I am going to lower this to like 25. I wonder what a real car has, but yeah, we'll just go 25 on this. I don't think deceleration makes a difference on a front drive car, so we'll leave it as is. And suspension, I don't even know what I'm doing with that, so 5.7 seconds to 60, 164 miles an hour, just rounding it off. That actually does seem pretty accurate, because the real Civic's 170, I think, so this would sort of be like a slightly lesser performing version of the standard car, I guess, in terms of its performance. Oh, sorry, of the Civic Type R, so this, performance-wise, would be, you know, a little bit better than the standard, obviously, like the Civic, well, the Civic's a lot better than the standard Civic. I think, what does the standard, actually no, the standard Civic has like 180 horsepower, this has 375, so yeah, I guess it works out. I'd prefer this thing to run about 350, because that's what I think it should be running, but other than that, that is our build. Let's go see what it's actually like to drive. Okay, we are here at the Sonoma short circuit, because I don't believe I've ever used Sonoma for one of these before. And we have our mighty, mighty Odyssey. Now, we are surrounded by front-wheel drive cars only. That's the way I've decided to go on this. I'm just going to let them all pass because that'll make this racing slightly more interesting. Yeah, I guess it sounds like a Type R. It screams a lot. Rev count should be surprisingly accurate because I don't think the V6 revs up too particularly much. We've got typical driver cars being stupid, so we will go around all of those, or try to, if I can remember what gear to be in. Of course, can't actually hear what's going on the television. This is, of course, incredibly loud, which it wouldn't usually be, but nevertheless, what the hell is going on up there? Oh, I thought everything was just stopped. I'm just not used to driving cars this slow, evidently. Right. We are beating some hot hatches, so that's good. Yeah, maybe D-Class could maybe get a bit more weight out of this and so on and so forth, make it a little bit more speedy, I guess. I wasn't, by the way, just pointing this out, wasn't intentionally building this thing to D400, however, that's apparently the way this has turned out perfectly for, so... Ooh, we got a bit of a lift-off oversteer. That could be exciting, or lift-off, I say oversteer, more lift-off understeer, tragically, but I'd like to believe it's lift-off oversteer, so that would make this car more fun. Actually, through the corners, it isn't horrifically awful, I will give it that. I actually drove this thing front-wheel drive with the Hellcat engine for... Ooh, God, can we get around there? Yes, we can. I actually drove this thing front-wheel drive with the Hellcat engine for Angel Stream, and it actually didn't go too terribly, so that's something. You know, this thing actually, as it turns out, is not a bad platform. Actually, high-speed cornering, it pulls that off rather well. Of course, we're going to get a chance at some low-speed cornering here, so we will do that. Of course, there's a lot of wheel spin, but yeah, it's nowhere near as good as the standard, you know, Civic Type R. That's a very good car, but it actually, it's not too far off, because that car, very good with high-speed cornering, but sort of the low-speed cornering, it does struggle with. I don't know if that's just because that car has actual downforce going on. Of course, this one doesn't have downforce. Maybe you could put the aero parts on this and make it a little bit more successful, but, you know, it doesn't really seem necessary, and of course I don't want to make the car look too stupid. But yeah, this turns out it actually seems to be pretty solid. Of course, we've got the panel shifters. I guess we can sort of sell the Type R Civic on, well, it's kind of a manual. You've got manual paddles. It's like, no clutch, not a manual, but okay, sure. You actually might end up going around the outside of a Mazda 3 here, or rather inside. Of course, that's the one advantage with the Odyssey. If you don't like someone, you can sort of just push them a little bit. Yeah, very big car, which helps. Probably why it's been banned from online lobbies recently. Ooh, there we go. I actually think I could have maybe stuck a bit more weight reduction in this, because I'm sort of looking around the cabin and thinking of like all the unnecessary things this thing has. You know, obviously it'd get racing bucket seats and all the rest of it, but I'm fairly certain, mind you, the weight reduction might have stripped out like the intercom system, because yes, this car has an intercom system. I don't think the Type R version would, as badass as that would be. Maybe we can sell this thing as like a Type R with options. I wonder how much it would cost. I mean, the Odyssey is only sold in America, so well, it might be in Japan as well. But as far as I'm aware, it's only in America, so I don't know the dollars too well. I don't know how much a standard Civic Type R costs. I don't... Well, actually, no, I know Odyssey's 50 grand, I think. Like, one in this trim, the Odyssey Elite. The Odyssey Elite Touring, or whatever it is. Ooh, we are going to drive over that curb slightly. But yeah, this actually... It's not a bad handling car, and apparently in terms of straight line speed, I might be a little bit quicker than some of these cars. Like this Alpha, I mean, hardly surprising. That's slightly my fault, mostly my fault, all my fault. Can I like recover this back onto the track safely? Nope. Right, let's go back. That was kind of my fault. I was trying to push the Alpha a little bit too much. Those of you who've been around on the channel for a long time probably know I am not a good person to take racing tips from. I also should explain at this point that I really don't like Sonoma. I just sort of picked this track because I don't think I've ever done a race build on this track before. But yeah, in terms of like these, I hate these corners. Like I don't like these style of corners. I don't like them when they're on Suzuka, and I especially don't like them when they're on Sonoma, because at least the ones on Suzuka are somewhat consistent. The ones on this track's like, okay, you're round, and then you're round, and then all of a sudden, dead end. So, or rather, you know, you basically run out of grip, I should say. Not dead end, although technically it was a dead end from when we went round last time, but never mind. Yeah, God, that was a loud whatever. No, it's a Subaru! Of course it's a Subaru! Anyways, yes. You know, Subaru rattling everything on my windsill, because, of course. Alright, if I can beat the Astra, I will be happy, because this car is better than... This car probably drives a million times better than the Astra does. Actually, you can sort of see it redlining. You know, obviously, there would need to be some more adjustments to the differential, camber and so on. Ooh, that was nice. Yeah, this actually does have a surprising amount of grip, although I'm going to completely go wide on this corner. I think pretty much everyone takes that corner like that. Like the AI are the only ones that don't. I'm sort of trying to take it more like the AI, but it ain't working out too well. As we've got a neon to pass, we're on closing in on the final lap. But yeah, this actually surprisingly okay. Come on, run the SLT4. There we go. I think I've got enough. Yep, got enough space to push back on him. Of course, need to be wary of the fact that this is a bigger motor vehicle than usual. Because, mind you, I drive a Volvo 850 a lot, and that's sort of massive. So, yeah, I can't say it's all that much different. There we go. Getting incredibly close to that wall. I don't think I've actually tapped it. I think this might be one of these first... If I actually look at the car... Yeah, there's no real damage on it. I think the only... I had a fight with a Mazda, but other than that... we seem to have got on pretty solid. Third place would be lovely. I don't think we're going to catch the Megane, and I believe that's a Mini Cooper GP. Of course, you know, the real Civic Type R is a lot faster than this is, but we're sort of half-basing this on the Civic Type R, I guess. It would use Civic Type R wheels, and maybe the suspension components could be brought forward, but made slightly more heavy-duty, but yeah. You know, obviously we're sticking to front-wheel drive and all the rest of it. Yeah, this is still actually not bad front-wheel drive. I haven't actually full-wheel drive swapped to Odyssey yet. No, actually, tell a lie, I did for the drift build that I did on this thing. Yes, I went drifting with this. Yes, it wasn't as bad as you'd think it would be. I've got them again. Can I get the Mini at the final moment? Probably going to struggle coming through this last corner. In typical Honda fashion, of course, bouncing off of the red line. While they may have the turbo motor, as most Type Rs do these days. it still ain't bad. Right, straight line speed, I've got much more speed than you, Sonny boy. I am going to try to go for the dive on the inside. Probably caused a lot more damage to his car than my car, but we are closing in. Gotta go down the inside, gotta make the run. I have got past him. There we go, the mighty Honda Odyssey Type R wins. Good. That actually turned out a lot... Well, actually, I say a lot better than I was expecting. Actually, as I said, I drove this thing before with a Hellcat engine, front-wheel drive. And it actually wasn't too bad then, so... You know, wasn't really expecting it to be ridiculously awful for this application. You know, obviously it has a lot less power than it did when it had the Hellcat, the Hellcat engine running through it. It has the just the turbo rally, so a lot less power to compete with. But yeah, anyways, that actually was fairly successful. I'm happy with that build. I may put this tune up on my storefront if anyone wants to have a play with the Type R Odyssey, the magically disappearing Type R Odyssey at that. Yes. If anyone wants to have a play with this, I'm going to chuck it up on my storefront. I might do that with every single car I build at this point. So yeah, surprisingly successful. If you haven't already, if you've got this pack, try out the Odyssey. At least do something with it, because it is actually surprisingly fantastic as a mini is humping a mini. Yes, anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching, and if you want to see certain cars get built up, do let me know what you want to see in the comment section below. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.
I'm trying to take the lead. Hold on, little homie, before you run into them trees. I see things that I never would have saw before. Hey, yo, Jim, let him in, let him